Good evening. Happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of the Opening Kick. As always, I got my man Gerald Smoke Dixon with me. How are you doing this fine evening, sir?
Man, you know what? I am doing awesome. This is the first time I believe anyone said Gerald Smoke Dixon. I've never heard Gerald and Smoke in the same sentence put together. But listen, if we're going to start with that deal, let's continue with it.
I like it. You like the way it rolls off? I'll stick with it.
The only reason why you said that is because I have a collared shirt and I button up the collar and I have a decent sweater on, and then maybe I look a little bit distinguished right now.
You're looking very distinguished, very spiffy tonight. Look, it forced me to up my game. I'm still wearing a hat, but I had to go throw on a collared shirt. I was starting to feel bad, like I was bringing down the show.
Collared shirt don't mean you dress well, man. It's how you feel about it. But hey, listen.
That's right. But as always, I'm Daniel. I'm here with you, and look, the star of the show is over to my side always. But we've got a jam-packed show tonight. We're in the off season.
You talking about Marcel?
I'm talking about who's over in the picture over your other shoulder. Is that you? Is that Young Smoke?
That's Young Smoke MVP trophy of 1999 of Paint Branch, the great PBHS, Paint Branch High School, the Mighty 300 in Burtonsville, Maryland. A couple of players that was on that team that was real good. Atchison Conway, Darnell Dockett,
Okay. Well, look, man, we got a jam-packed show for you tonight. If you haven't been paying attention, football season is now over. We hit the off season, but that don't mean we don't have a lot of action-packed stuff. We got a draft coming up that we can talk about. And my man Smoke rolled out a top list of the greatest cornerbacks in Bama history last week. We're going to do that again this week, but we're going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to give you Smoke's top 5 safeties. That way, maybe the audience and maybe his co-host can argue a little bit more with him, because that top 10 was just borderline inarguable. I think the top 5 maybe too, but man, Bama's had some dudes at that spot. So maybe we'll have a little fun with that again this evening. But
we are DBU. DBU.
I'll be honest, Smoke, doing this list is in looking into it and diving into it with you and trying to find names to debate. It really has come to even more light how many just not good, great defensive backs that have walked through the University of Alabama. So it's a fun thing to do in the offseason. We're going to kick a little more tonight. So buckle in, grab your beverage of choice, grab whatever you got off the grill. Hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter X, come on over to YouTube, to the Bama Standard. Hit that like and subscribe. We got a full week worth of fun stuff coming your way, and you don't want to miss out on any of it. With that said, let's give it a little love real quick to the people that keep the lights on here at the Bama Standard in the Opening Kick, and that is One Lambstone Company. Check them out at realrockstone.com. Inevitably, you've driven around and seen those beautiful homes with that natural stone. Well, if you happen to be building your own dream home, give Real Rock Stone a call. Get that. They've got all the stone to meet your project needs. They're located in beautiful Aniana, Alabama, one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So don't hesitate. Get that beautiful natural stone you've always dreamed of having on your home, and let them know we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your purchase of stone. So give them some love. Check them out, of course, after the show at realrockstone.com. With that said, people are already in the chat throwing out names. Smoke, tough as nails. Is Landon Collins on that list? I don't know, Tan. Hang around and find out if he is indeed. I'll tell you what. I met Landon this year. One of the great things about these shows, I'm going to give a little behind the scenes before we jump into our first topic, is, we've done a few live shows at the Bryant Museum. And most of the time when we're doing these, I've met so many of you guys that have, some of you, let's call it what it is, Adonises that walk on the field at Alabama, but I'm usually across the screen. But I've also had the fortune of meeting a few of you guys now in person at the Bryant Museum when we've done live shows. And I met Len, and I met a bunch of them. I met Reggie Ragland, all you guys, Bo, Smoke, Marvin, Jay Coker, just name after name. Maybe the most impressive dude I've met out of all of them was freaking Landon Collins. That guy.
The rest of us are roadkill.
Dude, he looks like the Predator. He is just a freaking beast of a man. Woo! Smoke's number one all time is going to drive Bama. Oh, God, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. Let's get into it. Like I said, hit that like and subscribe. Go hit up Real Rock after the show. But before we get into it, man, Smoke, we've kind of back and forth on this. You kind of poked at me on this first topic, but it's a topic that has had my attention since Akili Smith from Oregon went in the first round of the draft in 1998. Why do NFL teams always seem to reach at the quarterback position? I'd never heard of Akili Smith till he got drafted, and then I never heard of him again after he went pro. But since then, and look, I'm going to throw a name out there like Tim Tebow. Look, we all knew he was a great quarterback, great winner, but you could watch him throw and tell that don't look like the guys that throw it in the NFL. Then you get up to the Trey Lances of the world, Malik Willis, and now this year you keep peppering me with one, and I'm not sure he's going to go in the first round, but because of such a light draft class, and it seems like NFL teams will panic if Sanders and Ward go in the top 10 and no quarterback goes for the next 20. Does someone panic and reach for Dart? And I know this is a long-winded introduction to let Smoke take off to is Dart a reach? Are people reaching because of how weak the class is? Or are they just doing what they do? Is he the next Trey Lance, Malik Willis, Tim, whoever you name, whoever quarterback that they just want to blow up because that's just what they do? What is it, man? And look, man, this one I'm really glad that I have Smoke Dixon on my show because this man has literally worked in NFL organizations and scouting. So this is something that I'm so glad to let you roll with.
I might have been in the building that drafted Josh Allen. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
But also in the same building that traded the rights for Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs to draft him 10th overall. And I might be good friends with, I think, the best quarterback whisperer in the entire world, Pep Hamilton. So we sit down and we talk about it all the time. And one of the better up-and-coming quarterback coaches in the United States, Ted White. Ted White was a quarterback coach for the UCLA Bruins out there with my man Smoke, Deshaun Foster last year. So long story short, I've been around a few, and I believe I have enough credibility to talk about it. So the first thing we're talking about is it a reach for Jackson Dart? All depending on what reach means, because some of us have longer and shorter arms. If you're saying reaching to going from, if you're the 33rd pick to the 32nd, the last pick of the first round, and you believe throughout your quarterback evaluation process of spending time, remove the film part. The film part you and I can look at and determine what this player is right now. But I think the real good quarterback coaches' minds and the ones that get it right dive in to the mind of the quarterback, because a lot of the quarterback play, and Tom Brady touched on this 2 weeks ago during the Super Bowl, was a lot of the game that he played so well and considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, is played from the shoulders up. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times NFL teams get it wrong just because they haven't done the research or the work on the quarterback outside of the physical play, a la Jamarcus Russell. Because you can be the most gifted person in terms of throwing the football through a cinder block wall, but still can't read the coverage of a high-low defender, meaning I'm reading a cornerback on a hitch and a corner route. If cornerback sits, shoulders square, I throw 7. If shoulders open, butt to the sideline, belly to the field, and he's in retreat, I pump it and I hit it right there with the hitch. And that's just the simplest way of talking about someone being able to understand and to manipulate coverage. Can Dart do that? But that's when you got to spend time with him. And that's when you have to have a quarterback coach or building that understands the quarterback position with leadership, because that's the leader of your team. Can he handle it? Can he handle the pressure of being down by 5 points with the ball in his hand, no timeout, and the whole world's against him, and he has to make the proper decision? Can he handle being the guy of the city in the face of the franchise and not screw up by making one stupid decision over 15 years, because one gets you in trouble? Can he elevate the play of others around him so I don't have to pay you max dollars for average play, meaning that my cap is going to be upside down? So there's a lot of that goes into the decision, not just can he throw it, can he fit it in a tight window? There's more to it. And in the tangible parts is where somebody can come in that can read someone's character and understand who they are. I thought that was one of my best traits of sitting in a room and figuring out if you're bull crapping me or not. And I can sniff it from a mile away.
Well, Dart, and I'm going to get back to the NFL in general, but Dart's the name that gets talked about the most because he's the one that's kind of getting the most press for kind of rising. But I still see most draft analysis have him going in the second round. But again, I know it's a weak class, but you see Quinn Ewers and Dylan Gabriel and names like that. Are they all the same, or any of these guys got that ability? Again, I'm trying to wrap my head around what.
All right. So when I talk about quarterback play, I go into two categories that really count. Win because of. And the win because of quarterbacks are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and you cut it off right there. Because regardless of what's on the field, you're winning because of them. Then you get into the conversation of win with quarterbacks. That's everything has to be right. You have to have the receivers, the O-line, the running backs, the play caller, right scenario. That's where you get in the conversation with Jalen Hurts. Nothing wrong with that. You can win a Super Bowl with a win with quarterback, but you better be sure that your defense is elite and top 5. Your O-line is the best. Receiver play has to be great, and your play caller has to be able to be unlocked and lock in with him and use his particular skill set for winning games. Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott. Right now, you have to say Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, those guys, and Kirk Cousins. And it's not saying that those guys can't play or they're not good enough, but you need a whole bunch of pieces around them in order for you to have success. And that's where I see Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, on a lesser level, Jackson Dart. Because it's hard to tell me that you are a franchise guy and you elevate play around you. But none of those guys made their teams a college football playoff contender last year. Not one.
And that's where that's a great point, Smoke. And maybe that's the hardest thing with this class. And I feel like I know you send me articles where these guys are trying to find, Dart and compare him to Shedeur or whatever. It's just this class. There's not that guy. And look, a lot of times you think it's that guy and he doesn't turn out to be that guy. And it's Tom Brady in the 6th round that turns out to be that guy. So I guess that gets to my point. And you said it, it's the most important position. And unless you've got a generational defense like the Baltimore Ravens did, or just a generational team like the Philadelphia Eagles did that can help elevate
or generational organization.
Or generational organization
of Tom Brady.
How can you have so many NFL teams that do so little research and make so many mistakes? Jamarcus Russell may be the greatest example of all because he may have been the most physically gifted quarterback to ever. He was like Shaq of quarterbacks, but good God, he didn't have it upstairs to get it done. That had to be known before he got to, how did these mistakes like that get made? And you let, How do you skip on Patrick Mahomes and take Mitchell Trubisky? How the hell? How do you skip on Jaden Daniels and take, the Bears are a great example. Now, that's when I'm going to back off because Caleb Williams actually has it all on the field. I get it.
Time will tell with that one.
Yeah,
right now, the Commanders got it right, and the Chicago Bears still a question mark. It's only year one. They haven't figured it out yet. So when you talk about Patrick Mahomes and Mitchell Trubisky, both of those guys had glaring off the field, not even issues, but question marks behind them, right? Mm-hmm. So with Mitchell Trubisky, he played great that year, and on film, he was good. But then you have to ask yourself, why am I picking a quarterback in the top 5 picks if he couldn't even beat out a guy that's never going to sniff a day in the NFL? And then when you went around to the building and just kind of just hung out there, or even bring him into a room, like when you bring a true leader into a room and an alpha male or whatever they want to call it, you should know that's a starting quarterback. By the first time he starts talking And just the way that he answers your question, looks in your eye, and when you walk out of the room, he's like, damn, I want to go play with that guy. And whatever he says, I'm going to do, just because he just has it, and you can feel it. So with Patrick Mahomes, he had a lot of off-the-field issues. You see dad, don't you? Okay, you see brother, don't you? And sometimes his wife gets out there and says a lot of different things, correct? So you can't separate all of that and not say he has somewhat of that in him. And he did. And when you did your research on it, there's certain teams and certain organizations that was not ready for Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick didn't really want to go play for everybody either, because there's a few interviews that he just bombed. A la Buffalo Bills. It didn't come across as like, oh my God, that's the guy. But you're like, he's better than that, the way that he just came across. But he didn't want to go to no daggone Buffalo and play for Sean McDermott at that time. And Rico Dennison was the offensive coordinator. Like, come on. You're talking about a defensive guy that's going to run coach me at the quarterback position? I'd rather not. I'd rather make it look real good. I know that Kansas City probably had some type of conversation with him. And there's some gamemanship that came in with that. So that's how that happens. But both of those guys had a ton going on. And if you did not have the know-how and know how to separate a Mitchell Trubisky character and a Patrick Mahomes character, and knowing that one can elevate others around them, and one just participated and just had one of the best years as a quarterback in college, then you reach for Mitchell, and then you whiff on Patrick. But 31 other teams did as well too. It was just Chicago. Everybody.
But in Trubisky, though, again, this is, I think, the whole me trying to wrap my head around this since Akili Smith got drafted, Mitchell Trubisky getting drafted, Trey Lance coming out of nowhere. Then you watch his film and like, this dude don't have an NFL arm. Where are they seeing this about this guy? Maybe this is it. Maybe something I don't know. Maybe we'll never see.
Look at this as well too. In percentages, I'll say it. Like, there's only one starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So to miss on that, the percentages are higher. It's not like a receiver or offensive lineman or running backs, right? You can hide those guys. So you have to get one, because if you don't have one, you're done. So trying to drum up Trey Lance, I mean, a lot of people saw what Josh Allen looked like in college, but they didn't do their research and find out that Josh is a dog.
Yeah.
He's built different. He came from nothing. He knew that he was something, and never once did he ever not believe in his skill set, that he was that guy. So when he goes to Wyoming and he puts on a show and he takes that team on his back and he's winning 8 games and he's showing up in bowl games, like, Trey won, but he never showed you I'm a difference maker when I go on the field. When Josh was on the field, Josh was the best football player in any game.
Yeah.
You didn't walk away all the time saying, wow, Trey just looks completely different from everybody else. You didn't walk away saying Mitchell Trubisky looked completely different, because the guy didn't even play until that year that he had to. All right. So leadership he lacked.
Yeah.
Players didn't want to play around him. Like, when you went in there, the coaches, they didn't want to say it, but they was like, dude, no. And again, they're good scouts ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you case in point. Not even going to throw the scout's name out there, but at that time I was coaching at the Citadel, and Cortez Allen, cornerback that got drafted in the 4th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Outstanding human being. Great person. Love him like a son. And the scout came into my office, and he told me about Cortez's skill set and told me about Cortez's character. So you know what I did? I said, all right, yeah, you got him. Because you didn't ask me once, did he love football? What is he like as a practice player? What is he like when he gets beat? What does he do in the offseason? What's his why? Like, he came, sat down, and told me everything that he knew about Cortez. And the guy that's coached Cortez for the last 2 years, you never once asked. So all I did was just nod my head and said, yep. You got it. Dan Enos and I sat down and we talked about this. The quarterbacks at Alabama, and I sat in with him when we were talking. I said, "Did they ever ask this question about this particular quarterback?" He said they never once did. Never once did. So I just kept it the same. So sometimes the questions that need to be asked never get asked. And it's not my job to do your job for you. It's your job to do your job that you get paid for.
And again, for the money that gets put into it, for that position to be as important as it is, for that kind of crap to happen on those levels when you're making those type of this millions upon millions of dollars. I mean, let's be real. Franchise quarterback makes your, I mean, what does Patrick Mahomes bring into that organization? It's unaccounted for, more than what they
the
pay him.
Opportunity to three-peat, and it's never been done before. How about
Yeah,
that?
so
everybody walks out of that building. Everybody walks out of that building with an extension every year. Every scout and everyone walks away with a playoff bonus at minimum. Since he's been in there, you're going either to the championship game or the Super Bowl. So that's an easily $150,000 to $200,000 extra on top of what you've earned that year. That's what he does.
I feel like every scout would have like a Bill Belichick 400-page novel of what they're looking for with quarterback.
Hit the horns. Hit the horns. Okay. You guys got to stop using Bill Belichick like he's an end-all and be-all.
No, I'm just talking more about the example of him having a 400-page book for North Carolina, like of do's and don'ts.
You guys don't. Yeah, everyone can have a dictionary in the Bible, but that does not mean it makes sense to everybody. Everyone throws out Bill Belichick like he's the end-all and be-all in the talent evaluation. How about whenever you get bored one day, just go back and watch his draft history. If you want to take credit for Tom Brady, or anybody want to take credit for Tom Brady, 199, yeah, we all should be walking away from ourselves. And how did we miss? That sucked on everybody's part. And anybody that says, I would have took him in the third round, you're lying. Because if you could have gotten the best quarterback, arguably of all time, at any point, you didn't do that. Shame on you, and you should be fired and never work again in the NFL. Just say we all whiffed and missed, right? And when you say Bill Belichick, you remember that when COVID hit, they had the most opt-outs. Yeah. Sometimes you can wear out your welcome.
Well, you can wear out your welcome, but I'm more pointing out the fact why I would expect every GM coming to that position to have something along the lines of what he demanded of North Carolina when he got there, of all their quarterbacks, a 500-page like.
What did he demand? Like what? So when Tom
Brady just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, you talk about people missing questions. There should be questions missed. There shouldn't be anything missed when you're evaluating that position.
So he crossed all his T's and dotted all his I's, and he drafted Mac Jones. And he drafted Mac Jones and Jacoby Brissett. Cross them all up.
Hey man, I thought Mac was a good. Mac was what broke the completion percentage. Well, I mean, Mac, I thought that was a good pick. I actually thought that was going to work.
Yeah, a whole lot of thinking, not a lot of action. So you can have whatever you want. He other than Tom Brady, and that was a gift, like luck. Like what other quarterback has he unearthed?
I ain't talking about that. I'm just saying I'm more surprised everybody doesn't have a more thorough evaluation of the quarterback.
They do have a thorough evaluation.
A 400-page questionnaire of this is what I need. Don't miss any.
I don't think you need it. I don't think you need all of that. I just believe that some people can do it and some people can't do it. And over a period of time in the NFL's history, that's why you see the same guys always getting recycled as general managers and DPPs. And you're getting the same answers over and over again. So maybe the NFL needs to start looking into changing the order of the guys that are in the building that are calling these shots. And they're determining who's getting chosen at the quarterback position. I'm telling you, it ain't that hard. They make it harder than that.
The NFL makes it real damn hard. They screw it up all the time, which is a good question from our people at the network. Which QB is the greatest reach in NFL draft history, Smoke?
Biggest reach? I mean, you got a ton of them.
How much?
I mean, you can run them off. You can go say Jamarcus Russell because of what happened. But again,
they saw that
what happened with his development? Trey Lance is
one that comes to my mind quick.
That nobody says anything about. Mac Jones is also one. I mean, you can go year in and year out. And you don't draft a quarterback in the first round to be a backup. So if you draft a quarterback and in a few years they're backups, like what? How about the biggest non-reach in NFL history, Lamar Jackson? I know a lot of people give Baltimore credit for drafting Lamar, but do you guys remember that was Baltimore's second pick in the first round?
Yeah.
Because the first pick was a tight end that never made it. So I don't know if everyone wants to just get patted on the back and say they did a good job. They lucked up into that one too. And whoever allowed them to come back up, hey man, you guys are lucky. Because that could have quickly slipped into somebody else. But a lot of people that have conviction because again, the creative mind and understanding what that player is, a lot of people whiffed on it. Well, everybody except Baltimore. And honestly, they whiffed on it too because they didn't take him in their first round. They had to draft, come back up to go together.
Again, the greatest mystery is the draft of the quarterback to me. This will be an interesting year because I don't think there's a franchise, a sure lock, and there may be 2 or 3 in years to come, and they pan out. But just right out of the gate, if you don't look at it,
This question is laughable. This question is laughable. Read it all.
One of them, best college quarterback. So we're taking away pro career. Why is it laughable? I want to hear what you got to say. I think Cam Newton is hands down the greatest college quarterback to ever play. But
Cam Newton might be the greatest college football player ever.
Yeah. He would have won 25 different teams a national title that year, not just Auburn. He would have won.
I just want to know why is Tim Tebow in this conversation?
Because he was a winner and he came at a time.
So was Tim Tebow's win percentage that much better than Ken Dorsey when Ken Dorsey had that loaded team?
Tim played on some good teams.
Tim played on maybe the most loaded roster. I'm not talking about team. I'm talking about top to bottom from 1 to 85, maybe in college football history. Whenever you have some time, go back and do some research on that college team that Tim Tebow was on.
Johnny Manziel was the better college quarterback.
Yeah, for Christ's sake, Cam Newton was a backup. Think about that.
I think I think one of them. I think Cam Newton's the best. Like I said, my whole argument was he would have won 25 different teams a national title that year, and that shows you how good he was. I don't think you could say that about Tebow or any other quarterback that's ever played. To be honest, that's how good he freaking was.
Johnny was up there, but I think they're different guys. I think Cam Newton is a generational guy.
Mississippi State missed out on a bidding war away from winning. They were $50,000 away from winning a national title. Idiots. They should have ponied up.
$50,000 not let you win a national championship. Shame on you.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb non-investment there in a game where everybody's playing it. Hold on. Smoke was always the Cowboys. Okay, we'll get to those at the end. Those are good after draft, the best player available. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, good stuff, man. I don't know, Smoke. I wanted to really get your take on it. Again, you've kissed the behind the scenes of the NFL and even
kiss the behinds of the
you take everything I say and it's just assume it's dirty because I'm saying it. You were in the oh man, everything I could say be turned. I'm gonna stop that. Smoke got to do the NFL stuff, so he got to tell you about it. There you go. You can't take that dirty, damn it. With that said, man, much has been made about the lack of talent in the quarterback class, or actually in this draft class overall. And I think that may be a misnomer. And you even kind of pointed that out this week. So we're going to touch on it, that, man, there's actually a pretty deep position group in this class. And it's one that's kind of gotten the back burner in the last decade in the NFL. And that's the running back room. You know, it's not a running back league anymore. It's running back by committee. The Derrick Henrys, the Shaquan Barkleys, Gibbs. I mean, you can name 4 or 5 but outside of that, man, and even Gibbs is a running back by committee up there in Detroit. So that's what it is. But Smoke, you pointed out, man, this class is freaking loaded. And the more I looked into it, yeah, it is, because at one time I thought Dylan Sampson was maybe one of the best backs in this group. And hell, he's rated maybe 10th or 15th. I mean, between 10th and 15th of the guys.
Regardless of where they're rated and what your concept is of a bell cow running back, this class is so deep that you can probably get 2 of these guys and fill out your backfield if you're doing it right. I'm not a believer in a one-back show in the NFL, because what happens is it just puts you into a box of playing one style of football. And you use the name Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, he and Montgomery are good 1-2 punch combinations. And the Philadelphia Eagles showed the world that maybe sitting Saquon Barkley that last game of the season helped him to get a new, like, fresh legs in order to finish off the playoff run. And when you go from top to bottom, if you go from Jeanty to Scatterbo, you have NFL caliber talent that you don't necessarily have to get one in the first round. You can get one in the third or fourth round that is as good as the guy that goes in the round one or the one that's taken first overall. So this, I mean, they're loaded with even different skill set. You got guys that are complete running backs that can do it all, from running, pass pro, being able to pick up tough yards and being a bigger, thicker back that most people call the 4-minute backs. Or you have little scats that are deadly in the pass game. Brashad Smith, SMU running back. Then you have Dylan Sampson that is a one-cut guy that's real nifty and shifty with elusiveness, with enough speed to score. So, and then you have my man Amari Hampton at North Carolina, that might be the best running back.
He's good.
Right. Then you go down to UFC and get Harvey.
Harvey's good, man.
He's a problem. Michigan had 2.
Yeah, 1 240 kid.
Right.
And Edwards and the kid that was
Edwards
back
and Mullen. Right.
And look, man, and all that, I was upset. The fan side of me was upset, but look at I mean, you can say what you want as a fan. I'm going to take the fan side of this out now about Quinshon Judkins. That kid made a great business decision. He'd have stayed at Ole Miss. He'd have been a bell cow. He'd have carried it 30 times a game. He goes to Ohio State. He splits carries with Trayvon Henderson, gets a ring, makes money, and now he's got fresh legs going in the NFL. If I'm drafting, both Henderson and Judkins are way up on my list because they didn't get,
And again, Trayvon shows you a different element as well, too. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield.
Great. He's shifty.
And his ability to score with the ball in his hands. In terms of creativity. I mean, he caught that screen in the national championship game, in the semifinals game, and put his head on the goalpost.
Yeah, he's faster.
Yeah, he's faster than what people think. Now, you can play him towards his skill set. You don't have to bang him up in between the tackles and say, you got to go get 3rd and 1. No. Derrick Henry comes off the field on 3rd down. I don't think people understand that. And he's been doing that for his entire career. When he first started out with the Titans, it was a tandem role. Like, his first few years, he wasn't the guy. So I understand that running backs want to get paid, and they should. But me being on the other side, I'm not paying them that much. Why? Because I can take 2 to get the job of 1. I can get 3 to get the job of 1. And I don't have to pay those guys. And I can recycle them over and over and over again.
I agree, Smoke. I think there's so much value in this draft because, and again, they're still not going to go in the first round. You're going to see your wide receivers, your offensive linemen, your defensive linemen that always clog up that first round. Your quarterbacks that are worth it. This year it's going to be light, but man, then you're going to get in the second, third, fourth, the third day, and there's going to be running backs that are unbelievable value, like you said, that can create that Jahmyr Gibbs 1-2 punch. If you're getting the Judkins of the world, the Amari, Ollie Gordon, we haven't even mentioned. He fell off because his team fell apart. I mean, Ollie Gordon
is a one-cut, big 6'2" running back that can put his head on the goalpost. Like, when you go through this list, and Pettey, you got the list. Just roll through the 15 guys real quick. Just give our audience the players and just the names. I sent over to you. Just go ahead and just run them off real quick.
Oh, crap. I don't have the one, but it's Jeanty, Henderson, Judkins, Ollie Gordon, Amari Hampton, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Devin Neal from Kansas, RJ Harvey from UCF, Edwards from Michigan, Scatterbo's ranked up there from Arizona State. That's a good one I want to talk about. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, Sampson, Rocket Sanders is still up there, man. People sleep on him. He had unbelievable freshman year at Arkansas, hurt his knee, came back slow, so everybody slept on him. Dude was a bowling ball and a beast at South Carolina. If you watched him this year, there was a few runs that were like, get the F off me, I'm a man runs that he can, again, that's who did I miss on that?
Jadon Blue from Texas. Tons Brooks from Texas Tech. Right? Donovan Edwards, Michigan. Trevor Etienne. DJ Giddens. That's a guy that buckled Shiloh and got loose against Colorado. Good running back. Jaquindon Jackson, Arkansas. Jordan James, Oregon. Caleb Johnson, Iowa. Montel Johnson Jr., Florida. Phil Maffa, Clemson. Like Woody Marks, USC. Like the list goes on and on and on.
Woody Marks, boy.
I'm telling you, this is the most running backs that I've seen in my few years of doing the NFL draft and all my years of going back and reading Sports Digest from 1996 when my dad got me Sports Digest, and I'm sitting there looking at them. I haven't seen a running back class this deep. And if there's anybody out there, the Mel Kuypers, what's my other guy, Todd McShay. I would love to get in the conversation if you guys have seen a running back class this talented and this deep from top to bottom. That would be a great conversation. I haven't seen it. I talked to my buddy Jim Monis, and he's one of the great scouts. Helped build that New Orleans Saints team. One of the best draft classes, the class that had Reggie, Roman, Jari Evans. I'm sorry, Ja Evans. Like when we talk about it, I'm like, bro. He's like, I haven't seen this. I shot him over. I said, look at all these guys. He's like, this is crazy.
Well, and I think everybody's gotten caught up, and it's such an era of nobody putting much emphasis on the running backs outside of a handful that they just didn't pay attention to the fact of what we're talking about right now, that this may be one of the most loaded classes we've seen.
They're all looking at running back and saying, oh, he can get me 1,000 yards. Listen, that's one of the biggest crap of bull that getting 1,000 yards in the NFL is a joke. You can say a guy that's always had 1,000 yards in the NFL is our guy, Najee Harris, or a guy that's never gotten 1,000-yard rushing, Alvin Kamara. Which one do you want? I'm going to go with Kamara.
I'm going to take Kamara. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take Kamara. Look, you rushed for 60 yards a game. You got your 1,000 NFL. That was always kind of like, man, are y'all doing the math? It's not like you're a 100-yard-a-game rusher or anything, you know. Okay,
let me go. I got to be Russell. You got a question. Read that off real quick. Tough eyes test. Okay.
Sorry, sorry, Justin, you got it. B. Russell, tough eye test tells me Bo, greatest running back ever in college. I'll argue with anyone over it. Walker right there, and don't forget Dupree, as short as career was. Marcus Dupree, the whole Oklahoma, he was a myth, a mythical creature. That dude was unbelievable and could have had a career. I'm going to let Smoke answer this. I want to talk on it first because I think Bo Jackson is the greatest athlete to ever grace sports. I think the shortness that we can talk about, like Sterling Sharp, his career was even shorter, but in that screenshot, there wasn't anything better on a football field than Bo Jackson, and he did it as a hobby.
Bright stars don't last long, man. They usually come out really bright, and they just fizz out. But and I'm being biased, but I'm being truthful. Okay. I didn't see Bo and I didn't see Herschel. So it's hard for me to have that conversation. But when you talk about eye test, statistically, back-to-back years rushing the football, I don't think anybody did it better than Troy Davis. It's Iowa State, my old teammate. And we're talking stats. 2,000 yards back-to-back season. Okay? That's my brother. But best running back that I've seen in college, Marshall Faulk.
Boy, at San Diego State, what Marshall Faulk did was...
I used to stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, watching Marshall get loose for 200, 300 yards weekly.
Austin Jeanty can still thank Marshall Faulk for why he's getting the love he is, because people will believe in people like Austin Jeanty because of what Marshall Faulk did. He put up numbers that were unseen, and then he did it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to say is, and shout out to my man, the Dupree family. I played with the son. Pops used to come around a ton.
Oh, you met Marcus?
Yeah. You remember Marquez Dupree was signed at Bama from Philadelphia, Mississippi. Yeah, I know Dupree. Real
dude,
well.
Marcus, the legend of Marcus Dupree is pretty big.
Man, listen, the stories that he used to tell us, we got to do a short video for that, man.
We need to on Marcus Dupree. He was
that's easy, but I don't want you slip Jeanty and Marshall Faulk in the same conversation.
No, I didn't. I was more saying Marshall paved the way for backs at small schools. They're not the same person. I think Marshall Faulk's on a whole.
Thank you. He might be the best and most complete running back in NFL history. And if I was pegged to take one running back that's ever played football, I'm taking the Marshall plan, and you guys can have everybody else, and I won't even argue with you.
No, Marshall was one of my. As a kid, you collect cards, you get into stuff. There's certain players you fall in love with because of stats and things you follow. And Marshall was one of those for me that I remember. I've still got his rookie card of him in his San Diego State uniform and the numbers that he put up. And hell, he was up for the Heisman and he didn't get it because he was at a smaller school. If he would have
biggest robbery ever in Heisman Trophy history. I stopped believing in the Heisman Trophy voting once they did that and gave it to Gino Chiletta. That's the worst thing ever. Marshall Faulk, the best player.
There you go. And that's embarrassing. So no, I like the Marshall.
Ricky was a problem too.
Ricky Williams gave people concussions when he ran the ball. People forget about Ricky's college career. Again, I don't like that pro careers zap people's memory of what dudes did in college. And Ricky Williams in college was.
Ricky made guys.
In that argument, man.
Melvin Ricky Smith, our DB coach at Bama, he was at Mississippi State. Ricky's last year that they played in the bowl game, or maybe his junior year that they played in the bowl game.
Against Mississippi State?
Against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
He said by halftime, the entire defense, it might have been first quarter, had ice packs on the back of their necks because of the hammering that Ricky gave to all of them. You know what? I got a quick Ricky story for you. All right, so this is when Ricky was in Canada and I was playing in Edmonton. And I don't know what made Ricky want to go on kickoff coverage. And I'm on kickoff return. And Ricky was lined up with L4. It's a wedge buster back in the day. Guy that runs up. You count from outside in 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Ricky.
He had smoked that aggressive weed that day.
Okay, I don't know what he was smoking. I never smoked, and I never smoked with him, so I can't speak about it. So I'm sitting there now. I have to block L4 by myself for like 2 seconds, and then my other guy, J.R. LaRose, is gonna come and just chip him and we vice him. And I see Ricky. Ricky had no lotion on that day, so he's ashy as hell. And he looked like he was on one, and he was gonna just slap through me. I looked at the sideline. I'm like, can we call this something else? We call it reverse. Long story short. Here comes Ricky. Kickoff. Running. I run back. I set up Ricky. Smoke on his back. Ricky runs through. I came back to the sideline. I said, hey, guys, I tried. I did that one again.
I gave him all, guys.
Man,
well, Ricky's like your height, but two of you, right?
Ricky is.
He wasn't that tall. He was
5'10", 5'11" is a little short. Like he was built like a stump. If you go outside right now and you cut down a tree, and you just run into that tree over and over and over and over and over again, that's what it feels like hitting Ricky. And then when he had the dreads, I remember in Buffalo, the game was like 200. Then you just see the dread just starts flapping, and it's like it's cold out here. Ricky feels like a stump hitting him. Yeah, let's make some business decisions. Do we really want to tackle Ricky? Nah.
You talk about that bowl game against State. He gave a guy a concussion that day. And, man, if you've been around this network, you've heard Marvin and you guys talk about when you played State back in those days, you were playing some cornbread junior college 25-year-old dude
tough SOBs, bro.
That could choose like iron.
Tough.
And yeah, so this isn't a Mississippi State team that just walked over there with a bunch of pansies. There's some dudes that
This is a 1998 team that Marvin is talking about that drummed Bama and drummed a lot of people.
Yeah,
like physically tough. Like they walk in there, they want action. and Rick gave them what they were looking for, and they all had ice packs in the back of their
Oh, hell it is. Yeah, Ricky's up there, but man, I did see Bo. Bo was special. I didn't see Herschel. Falk was incredible. I think we're hitting on some of the. I think we've nailed probably the best ones that have ever. And Derrick Henry, the one we're not. The one we haven't mentioned is Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick is, like those guys are video game play. Like Mark,
I know
video game.
Well, the only other one I would add in there that we've left out. Now, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I watched this guy and play video games in real life. Was Reggie Bush?
Yeah, Reggie was a fool.
Reggie.
I got a couple of Reggie Bush stories too, but that's one.
We'll save those for another day. We'll have a Reggie Bush day and talk a little. We'll have a little special on running backs, Reggie Bush, and smoke stories about the one great.
Good stories. Reggie is an incredible human. Good ones.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Reggie's one of my favorite players.
Good person too.
Really good to know.
A1 person. Never seen anybody work like Reggie.
Now, if you weren't done with the Heisman over your boy Falk not winning it, when they took it from Reggie after what all the shit that's gone, they know about college football, then it's really
that's embarrassing. Shout out to Reggie, man. Great person, bro.
All right. It's time. But before we get there, season's not over. I know it was a rough one this Saturday in Coleman Coliseum, but that don't mean it's over. The tie will be back. We learned from those. We'll go back to yeah, you can wipe it with them this time. But we're going to go back down to Auburn and pay them back and hit that 3 ball, hopefully. But before you do that, you got to go to whitwillsports.com and get that title towel today. Do I have it upside down?
You certainly do, unless we're looking at it like this.
Unless I got my camera. Get your title towel today. Tell them the promo code STANDARD. Get 20% off. They are some great supporters of not just Alabama football. They're great supporters of us here at the Bama Standard and the Opening Kick. We love you guys. They're always in the chat. Get that title towel today. This basketball season's not over, guys. This team can still make a run. With that said, man, Smoke, we've had a little bit of fun with Smoke doing some top list of Bama players. We even have a little show to talk about Smoke's top 5 NFL receivers of all time. Go check that out. It's on the network.
That was a good one.
It was good. Good one. But today, I was waiting on Marvin to get I was glad Marvin was there because I wanted to hear him throw out Rice.
Man, Marvin don't know nothing, man. Let's get to this top list. Let's get to the top 10 list.
Smoke's top 5 greatest safeties in Alabama history. So get in that comment section. Let us know who you think it is because we did 10 last week. This is going to make it a little tougher. Number 5, Smoke. He has one, Sam Shade.
Listen.
Tell me about Sam.
So when everybody talks about Sam Shade, I'm like, oh my God, what is it? No, Sam came in as a cornerback. Sam can cover, athlete, ball skills, all-around safety, Bama's own, Winona's own, great individual. And then once he got to the NFL, became a thumper. Redefined the safety position. That's when he started playing dime linebacker. Sam would never come off the field. Had the ability to cover the best running backs and tight ends. Could get in the running game and thump you, but also an outstanding blitzer. Sam Shade, number 5.
Sam Shade, number 5. Like it. Coming at number 4. Everybody get your laugh on. It's Clinton Dix.
Laugh all you want. But I know those quarterbacks that was hanging that ball up wasn't laughing. No. Ball skills, ball hawk, physical, gifted, size, ability as a playmaker out of Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando. Big-time player, the 4th best safety in Bama football history. The only thing wrong with him, you got to add the O-N on that Dix, and we'll get it right.
They kicked him out of the family and had to drop.
No. We want him in our family.
You want to bring you back, dude. Clinton is one of my favorite Bama players of all time. He is when you use the term ball hawk in the dictionary, you see Clinton Dix sitting there. Number 3, your man, Roman Harper.
Let's go, man. I tutored this one. Now, he's in the Saints Ring of Fame. I just talked about he and Big Jari Evans being in one of the greatest draft class. Roman Harper, the ability to cover, blitz. Like Greg Williams' defense was built around his skill set. His ability to blitz, tackle in space, and cover, and was a mother in the middle of the field as an intimidator. There's not a weak point in his game, and an outstanding leader and great knowledge of the game too. He played the game from the shoulders up.
And that's what makes the great players. Look, you've seen it. There's athletes and athletes upon athletes, but what makes the guy special, what's up here, and what I remember most about Roman Harper, great players make great plays at big times, and that was Roman Harper. He's the reason Daniel Moore is rich, because of guys like Roman Harper making plays for Alabama when all the chips are on the line. That dude made it happen.
And Sean Payton better thank him too, because I believe he's the one that recovered that kick on the onside kick.
Yes, he was. He was when Peyton pulled a save and kind of dropped them big ones in that onside early. Good.
Go get him, Mark.
Number 2, and this is one that many people, I believe, may argue is number 1. So, look, he's got an argument. One Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Tell him to argue with himself. Again, safety that can cover in the slot, ball skills, physical enough, so you never have to take him off the football field, because he can cover your tight ends, he can cover your slot, he can be a player in the middle of the field, and again, he is an All-Pro, All-American, and physically gifted skill set. Second best safety in Alabama's history.
Again, he's out of that Sean Taylor mold physically. He's just
whoa.
Big dude. I ain't saying he's Sean.
Blasphemous behavior.
I'm saying he's out of that mold. He's a big dude.
Behavior.
He's a big. Look, I get Sean Taylor is.
There's Sean, cutoff, and everybody else.
Is it
physical? Oh yeah, we ain't never
seen Sean. Ed Reed?
I said skill set.
Skill set.
Eddie Kane is the GOAT of the safety position. But when you're talking about when you want to build a safety and say, you know what, this is the perfect safety, you chisel away, and what you got is Sean Taylor.
Would you say Champ Bailey would fit that mold at cornerback? I don't know why.
Absolutely. I think Champ is the greatest corner of all time, skill set wise. But
sorry, that's why when you said that and we're talking about, you talk about Dion, all them, it immediately hit me. Well, Champ Bailey was that guy at cornerback.
Go run the numbers with Champ Bailey's numbers and say they come up very close, if not better than times. But that's a whole nother day for another thing. We got to get to number 1.
Number 1, and again,
you know what? You can pause on this number 1 real quick.
Okay.
I think what's going to happen is everyone's going to go, oh my God, okay, good. I've sat down.
Okay,
Sam
good.
Shade, myself, and the rest of the players at Alabama, we've come to it and understand, the ones that understand how to evaluate talent. We have never seen a safety like this at Alabama that can change the game by himself and at any time could be the best football player, not on defense, but on the football field. Give me our number 1.
Number 1. Caleb Downs. Tell me why. You gave me a little bit, but why is he better than Minkah Fitzpatrick, Roman Harper, Clinton Dix, all Sam Shade, and some names I'm going to throw out there and say, how did these guys not crack the top 5?
Well, we've never seen a safety with his skill set at the University of Alabama, and he was only there for 1 year. His ability to cover, be in the middle of the field, but show up at the line of scrimmage like that. Cut on the Penn State game. There's a reason why Tyler Warren didn't have a big day. There's a reason why the Buckeyes defense changed and put him at a position that we're still trying to remember what it is. But his skill set in terms of with the ball in his hand, you saw his ability to punt return as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if you put him on offense, he can be one of the best running backs in college football if need be. So his overall skill set and his athleticism and the way that he plays the game, there's never been a safety at the University of Alabama with that combination ever. Period, point blank, that's what it is. And Nick Saban's tenure, 17 years at Alabama, there's never been a safety that led the team in tackles and interceptions. And I would like to look back at Nick Saban's defense his entire time that he's ever coached in college football, and if we've ever had it. And he did that as a true freshman. Caleb, sorry, y'all.
A lot of hot takes on our show through the weeks. That may be one that I would think gets the chat fired up, or maybe in the comments later. But Smoke, I mean, this is where I love to argue with you. It's one of my favorite things to do is argue sports with you, but you played defensive back at the highest levels of football. Me arguing with this is like,
if I'm drafting one and all those guys on the draft board, I'm taking Caleb Downs. Roman's taking Caleb Downs. Ha-Ha's taking Caleb Downs. Sam is taking Caleb Downs. All of us are taking Caleb Downs.
Every one of these guys is taking Caleb first.
Heck yeah, bro. Come on, man. I respect all those guys, but Caleb's a problem.
Damn. Man, let's not Smoke. This was a top 5. There's names that you didn't put on this list. We're talking George Teague. I mean, one of the greatest legends in Alabama
the
history.
Godfather. I get it, but this is my list of the best players ever. Not what people believe that's the best player in Alabama. This is Smoke's list.
Okay, no. What about Eddie Jackson? Landon Collins. Those two.
Landon's a linebacker. You're going to throw Mark Barron in there. Those guys.
Mark Barron is the line. You knew Mark. You looked at my list. You looked down over here.
Yeah, I can't put those guys on the film and say go cover and get this done for me. I got to replace you because you might get beat.
I'm
Eddie
glad
Jackson,
you brought that up.
Eddie was a football player, could cover, but he struggled in the tackling department. All my guys up there can tackle, bro.
Okay.
We can tackle on that list, maybe Ha-Ha. Maybe. But his ball field says the best. Says it all.
And I like the way you just quantified that, though, Smoke. Like, look, Landon Collins I talked about it. He looked like the Predator, but Collins got beat over the top from time to time. That was where his weakness was. You want to go back to, and I know I watched that one in depth, but when Ole Miss beat them, it's because Collins got beat over the top. If you crossed receivers, it could cross his eyes and he'd lose sight a lot. But dude,
yeah, he can't run. He's
still one of the greatest. And that's why I'm glad you put that up, because you talk about Barron. Well, the tackling with the coverage, there's certain things. The 5 you have in the top 5 could do it all. There wasn't a weakness.
We ain't taking them off the field, and there are multiple fits in every defense. We can blitz, we can cover, we got ball skills, run after catchability. Oh my guys.
I think that it's funny. I figured I would have bet before this Teague would have probably sent people over the edge the most, not being on the list. I think Landon Collins is the one that's got Smoke. What you smoking? Collins not an LB.
So what did Landon end up playing? Landon was more productive when he was a dime linebacker in Nick Saban's defense. Mark Barron was the most productive when he played dime linebacker in sub packages in Nick Saban's defense. Both of those guys end up playing what position in the NFL at the end of their careers? We're in the middle. Linebacker. Mm-hmm. Hey, don't tell me. Just watch film. That's all I do.
Love it. We got to come up with some more of these top 5, Smoke. I like doing them. We're just gonna have to roll over. Each week we'll roll out a different one for a different position through Alabama throughout history. They're fun. This one, and I think we need to top it at 5 because I think that makes it, there's names that we can throw out a little better.
Pettey, it's come that time.
I know.
That we all have to say goodbye. Bama fans, all the opening kick fans, if you want to find me and Pettey, just follow us. Go like and subscribe on that Bama network. We're here. We're here for you. Interact a little bit more. Engage. If you want some more real and some more truthful facts about this game of football at every single level, we got some short videos that's coming out too, Pettey.
That's right.
New topics.
Right.
We're going to drop it on it tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to give them the topics. Stay tuned.
Let's do it. We're going to be here all off season. Look, say what you want to say. You can leave your feels at the door. We're not here to – we're just here telling – Smoke is just telling you the truth as he knows it, as he sees it. And I kind of like it. I like when he does it. It is what it is. Hey, Smoke, as always, you can catch me on this network. I'm here on Mondays with Smoke. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 Central with the final whistle. Smoke will be back tomorrow night, 6 Central, with the flagship, the Bama Standard. And then I'll be back on Thursday, man. Talk going hard in the paint, talk a little Bama basketball. I know it was a rough one, but we're going to get back on it. We get back rolling. And, hey, man, like I said, if you're over there, hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, X right now, come over to YouTube to the Bama Standard. Hit that like and subscribe. As always, we appreciate it. Follow whitwheelsports.com. Go get your title towel, Lambstone, realrockstone.com. Go get your stone. And come see us next time. Hey, and hit that like and subscribe so you can get all your content here at the Bama Standard. With that said, Love you. Peace out. Roll Tide. All that good stuff.